Hi friends, welcome once again to Yoga with Marycarmen. Marycarmen is my name, and in this video I can't wait to show you one of those poses that are more of a transitional pose, but it's a super strong pose and it's helping us to develop the strength that we're going to need in our legs to move on to that next level in yoga. It is called low lunge. It's a powerful pose. It involves not only the legs, but it also helps us stabilize the muscles around the hips, the core, the glutes. So let's begin. Okay, friends, so low lunge. Here we go. We're going to begin at the top of the mat, and we're going to begin with mountain. If you are unfamiliar with mountain, you should be familiar by now if you're watching this playlist. If you're at this level, as the beginner series part 2, we already covered that on part 1. So remember, you can always take a look at that video. And we're going to begin with the feet separated about width distance apart. Relax the shoulders. Heart is open. Spine is tall. The pelvis is tucked under slightly, just activating that pelvic floor and abdominal muscles. And then from here, we're going to inhale, bringing the arms up. And as you exhale, let the arms just come all the way down. And from here, we're going to bring the hands towards our hip area, just to remind us of keeping the upper body long and straight. Bend the knees slightly and let the heart lead you down into your halfway lift. So let the arms just relax down. If you don't know halfway lift, again, that's another pose that we already covered previously in the last playlist. And then from here, we're going to continue down to the floor. Okay, from here we're going to bring one leg all the way back and let that leg find its space. So you're gonna let that leg find its space back there. So take your time. There's no rush here. Really feel the earth beneath you and lengthening that that hip flexor. Now bring that knee down, the back knee down. We're practicing low lunge. The top of the foot comes down on the floor. I'm going super slow so you can see all the things that happen. Typically in a yoga practice, you kind of rush in this time, in this moment where you're going from that upper that upper pose to a bottom pose, and you're transitioning with low lunge. So I'm going super slow for you. Okay, so from here you gotta feel this, and also very important, knee on top of the ankle. The knee needs to be on top of the ankle, never in front. I see a lot of this in my yoga practices, usually beginners. So it is not about how flexible I'm on my leg. This can really hurt your knee in the long run. We don't want to stretch the knee more than it needs to. It's a very important joint in our body, so we want to protect it and stabilize it like this. Or if you cannot do this, you are more than welcome to keep it behind the ankle. Okay, but the most you're gonna go on this is right on top of it. Okay, now the hips. What's happening to the hips? Notice that right hip is back. I want to push that hip forward slightly. So there's a tiny adjustment that happens on the hips, okay? We're here. We want to make sure the hips are one next to the other, okay? From here. Beautiful. Engaging that front leg. There's a lot of energy happening here. And then the arms are either on the floor, barely touching the floor, if you have the strength on your abdominal muscles to do that, or you are resting on the blocks. If you have short arms like me and you really need to rest, you're probably using the blocks. And the most important thing here is that the chest, the heart is open. The shoulders are backing down, and you're creating a straight line from the knee that's behind you all the way up. Glutes are active, leg is active, the hips are activated. You're building all of those muscles, and you're here, and you're sweating. And this is really working for me. So you're inhaling, And as you exhale, you sink into this pose a little bit more if you have time during a practice to do so. So another thing that's very important here and you need to protect is your hips and your lower spine. You don't want to collapse into this pose and really push the hips forward and open this up. This can really hurt your lower back in the long run as well. That's why it's so important to activate the abdominal muscles as you're doing this. That's what's going to protect your lower spine. So as you're doing this, always be mindful of what's happening. So as we do yoga, there's always that mindfulness. We're not just doing these amazing poses to look good. We're actually engaging, protecting, building. Okay, so I'm gonna open up my hips, but always being aware of my lower spine. How? Activating the core, pulling that belly in, engaging the pelvic floor. Another thing, I'm already feeling it because we're doing this for so long, because I'm going super slow to show you many things. The knee. Some people have knee issues on this one, so then you can either double up your mat, use a pillow or a blanket or anything that softens that joint and that can allow you to stay here for a breath or two without experiencing pain on that joint. You don't need to experience pain as you're doing yoga. Inhaling, exhaling. Now again, all the principles we just talked about, the heart, the hips, the leg, so many things. So that's what we're doing these tutorials, because there's a lot happening on every single pose. Inhale, exhale. Now we're going to transition from this into downward facing dog. Okay, from here I'm just going to bring that top leg or that front leg towards the back into our fours, curl up the toes and extend those hips up to the sky. And now we are in downward facing dog. If you haven't visited downward facing dog, if you don't know what that is, you should click that link also on my explanation below to visit downward facing dog. It's a very basic yoga pose and you should know it by now. And then from here I'm just going to now transition to that same low lunge but on the other side. So here we go. Inhale. I think it's this leg, right? Yes. Inhale, extend the opposite leg. And as you exhale, bring it to the front, in between the hands. Find space. A lot of people end up back here, and that's okay. Grab that ankle and walk it. No rush. This is why I said earlier, find that spot that works for you and take your time. So here we go. I'm lengthening the hip flexor on the other side. Okay, by just adding some movement back and forth. That's all I'm doing. Allowing my hips to get used to this stretch on the other side. Okay, I feel good now. And then I'm going to let my other knee come down, top of the foot down. Remember, top of the foot down. And then readjust that front leg. Knee on top of the ankle or knee behind the ankle. Your choice. Oh, look at my hips. Oops. So that leg that's in front usually has the hip moving forward. We want to realign that hip with the other one. Okay, it's a minor adjustment that happens. Only you can feel it because nobody can see it. Okay, now I got my inner thigh on the other leg active. I got my other leg active. The glutes are active. My core is engaged. Now let me add the arms. Spine is lengthening, my heart is open. Inhaling, exhaling. I got my fingers barely touching the ground, or I have them resting on a block. And there's a lot going on here. Inhaling, I can lift my chest just a little bit more. Exhale. Now I'm allowing my hips to move into the space that I'm creating, protecting my lower spine. My abdominal muscles are they're engaged. I don't want to hurt on my lower back later today. Inhale. Exhale. All right. We're going to end this video the same way we started. So from here, go ahead and plant those hands. Curl up the back toes. Lift the knee and walk that foot to the front. Find your space. Feet are separated. This hip with distance apart. And then I'm inhaling at my halfway lift. And exhale. Knees bent slightly. And from the waist, we're going up into the sky. Inhale, elevating the arms. And exhale. Hands to your heart. And this is the end of this tutorial. That was low lunge. It's a wonderful pose, especially if you want to become a runner or if you've been running for a while. It's a wonderful pose. Now, there's a ton of variations to this pose, which I will be presenting to you in other tutorials in the future. We are still at the beginner's level for this series. I hope you liked it. Practice it. Let me know what you think about this. How did it work for you? Are there any other things, any other questions that you have? There's a ton that we just learned and that happened. So please let me know in the comments below. Like my video, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much.